Hello, and welcome to 10 Lessons Learned, where we talk to leaders and luminaries from all over the world to dispense wisdom for career, business, and life in order to make the world wiser, lesson by lesson. My name is Diana White, and I'm your host for this episode. Our guest today is Adriana Williamson. Adriana is a passionate immigrant who came to the United States over 28 years ago. Adriana was born and raised in Mexico. When she arrived to this country, she had neither finished her high school education nor spoke English. At the age of 19, she became the proud mother of a special needs child who at the age of 2 was diagnosed with severe autism. With dedication, perseverance, discipline, faith, and resilience, Adriana obtained a bachelor's degree in international business in 2006. In 2013, she also obtained a master's degree in information management systems at W.P. Carey at ASU. Today, Adriana is a director of data and analytics at Feeding America. She has been leading high-performance teams, which has become her passion. When leading and shaping people, Adriana applies empathy, compassion, and vulnerability. All these learned while navigating her own journey. Welcome, Adriana.
Thank you, Diana. I'm so happy and excited to be here sharing the walk of life. So it really is a pleasure. Thank you for inviting.
It's a pleasure to have you. When we talked and I listened to your story, I said, if this isn't what it means to be a resilient woman, I don't know what does. So I wanted to have you on the show to talk about this and your philosophies on how you navigate through life and how you work with people. But I got a sneak question for you. First up, what would you tell your 30-year-old self? I know that was only like 2 days ago, but talk to me.
Yes, I was tell myself that the best is about to come. Definitely. When I look back when I was 30 and all the things that have happened since then, definitely my life has been full of blessings. So definitely, I will say the best's about to come.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Let's get right into your lessons. And your lessons are short and sweet and simple, but
Yes.
the stories behind them are the juice. So I love this. Lesson number 1, have determination.
Thinking about some of the lessons, I picked determination because I really think that that's what is the key of getting out of situations in life that we have, right? That it's not the situation, but it's what we make out of that situation. So if you're determined that you can have a better result or a better life for you, that's going to happen, not the current situation that you have. And I give you an example. In my case, in my childhood, I grew up in a very violent household, and I knew that my future and my life deserved better. So I really learned that I had the determination to take the steps as a little child to learn the life that I dream of. So that has proven to be so true, right? As a child, I couldn't control my moment at the point. But when I became an adult, then I was no longer the victim of my childhood, but of the future I wanted to have as an adult. So that's why determination to me is the number one lesson where the journey begins.
Well, I love that. I love that. I recently watched a clip, a woman who was talking about having grown up in a violent household and having a lot of childhood trauma from that. And I thought what she said was so profound because what she said was nothing her parents can say will help to heal that child. That child is wounded and that wound won't go away. And she said, it took me a long time to realize that that child now belongs to me. It's my job to raise that child now. And I can do it better than my parents did it. And so I need to stop waiting for my parents to fix something and just go fix it for my inner child myself. And my head exploded. My head exploded because that's exactly right.
That's exactly right. Yes. And we gotta stop victimizing and blaming, right? At some point, like I said, as a child, you have no control. But as an adult, you do.
Lesson number 2, develop resilience and adaptation skills.
Well, if anything has happened in my life, has been change, right? If you don't adapt to the change, you always will be struggling in life. In my case, when I was 18 years old, for many reasons, I had the opportunity to come to the United States. But when I came to the United States at 18, when I had already been raised in a total different culture, total different country, coming to this country and not understanding the language, and I hadn't even finished high school, and adapting to the culture was. I remember having nights of just crying in a corner myself, missing what I left behind. And I know that sometimes a lot of people would not survive that. And you got to go back because you really miss that so much. But having resilience and adaptation is what shaped that beginning of this country. There's so many things I had to go through, adapting to the culture, learning the language, understanding how people in relationships are very different from where I come from. In Mexico, we're so close to my neighbor, to the stranger. We don't have that space. Whereas I have to learn that there's a space, and I had to respect that. So that's one of my biggest changes. And of course, since then, the biggest one is when I became a mom at 19, without even having finished growing up myself, and in a new country, learning a new language. I became a mom, and my son at 2 years old, he was diagnosed with severe autism, and that was a total shock. And I thought, as he was diagnosed, I had two options: cry and cry and cry and blame life and blame a person of faith, or blame God for that, or accept that this is what I have and adapt and move forward. And that's what I decided to do. I became resilient because the more I was able to face and adapt these new events in my life, I became stronger.
And you became a role model for your kids. It boggles my mind sometimes how everybody has to have a pity party every once in a while. It's a prerequisite to the human existence. Things happen and you say, why me? You feel a little bad. But then at the end of the day, when you go, okay, it is me.
It is me.
What do I do next? What the resilience that you show other people around you, the people that really need to see and emulate it, it's worth its weight in gold.
Definitely. And believe me, I had that question in my head many times when I heard the diagnosis at first. Well, first I didn't understand what the diagnosis was. To me was, is it a cold? Is it a flu? How do we get rid of it? Right. Then it took education for me to understand that this is a lifelong special circumstances for my son. And yes, I question myself. What did I do wrong? What could I done better? But once you grieve, that's the part of grieving that we all should take it. We all need it. To your point is that this is where I am, and this is who I am, and this is what I have. How do I move forward? I more than ever, I want a better life. And that's exactly what moved me to my next revolution of life.
Love that. And I love that you talked about the grief part. And I want to drive this home for our viewers and listeners. And by no means am I some sort of psychologist, right? But I do believe that when things like this happen, in order for you to see the blessing of what you really have, what the universe has given you, you have to grieve for the plan you made, right? For what you thought life was going to be. There's that expression, you make plans and God laughs, right?
Oh,
So I think that when we say grief, we don't mean I'm grieving because I don't want what I have. I'm grieving because I don't like what I have. I'm grieving the loss of what I thought I wanted. And now I'm moving forward with what I have. And I know that's going to be beautiful too.
That's the beautiful way of putting it, Diana. As human beings, we go through a lot of losses. Being born is the number one loss because when you get out of your mom's womb, that's a loss.
Yeah.
You're losing a beautiful world in that womb,
You
right?
lose that free rent, those free nutrients. What? Yes,
Yes, yes,
absolutely.
yes. And it's interesting that you say that because I actually had a writing. I did this big writing that I actually presented at Toastmasters, one of my speaking lessons, and I talk about that loss. Like as I was excited, expecting my son, and I had all these lists, a baby list, and ready to take that flight of motherhood. And I had a destination in mind. I thinking about the languages my son was going to speak. I used to have arguments. He was going to start speaking Spanish, or thinking about all the fun things we were going to do. And I built this map in my head of that destination. But what happens is that when I landed in that destination, I realized that my map wouldn't work there. And the
Yeah.
tools I put together, couldn't I use those tools. So
Yeah.
I've landed in a completely lost land. So it is interesting that you mentioned that.
And I dare say that, even if your precious boy is nonverbal, he still has love language. There's still language there. So the
There is a
language that
lot.
he speaks, that was still a dream that came true.
Yes.
How much fun you were going to have. I know you have fun with your son. I know you do. You have a blast, right? But it's different. It's in his way. It's in his world through his eyes.
Yes.
You didn't lose the things that you wished for. You
Yes.
just had to change your plan.
And that's in key what you're saying. I didn't thought for trying to change him because you gotta understand. I had to understand, and this goes to people who are in that situation, that trying to change the outside is almost impossible.
Mhm.
But if you start changing yourself, and I decided to adapt to my son,
Mhm.
to my son's life, to my son's way of being, to my son's way of communicate. And he's now 27, and we have a great relationship, and I could not imagine him outside my life.
Oh, it's powerful stuff. And we're not even
Yes.
at lesson number 3, everyone. This is amazing. Lesson number 3, never stop believing, dreaming, and achieving.
Never, never. I think this one so sticks to me a lot, especially coming to this country. And I found a lot of wonderful people, but I also found barriers as an immigrant, as a woman, as a single mom, uneducated single mom, Latina, and that situation. I had doors that closed and told me, no, you cannot. We cannot have you at this point. Or you cannot do certain things at this point. But I learned that by going and knocking to the next door and keep knocking those doors. Someday one of those were open. And that's what it did for me. Regardless of being on the situation I was, a single mom and special needs son, and in a lot of need. And by the way, my family never came with me, right? I was me, myself in this country with my son. But you always find, first of all, you find people will always give you the hand. And once that right door open, the sky is the limit. And that's exactly how I am here today. By those people who saw me, hear my story, saw my need, but also saw my passion, because you gotta have that passion. Why are you pursuing what you're pursuing? That has to be there. That passion for change and a better future. And that's what I had at 21 years old when I finally got the doors open to go to community college in California. And that's where I started learning English as a second language. And eventually, I had and received plenty of scholarships to continue my education. In 2004, I was very blessed receiving the presidential scholarship in one of the
Wow.
colleges in the Bay Area. It was Menlo College. They saw me, they saw my story, they saw my grades, they saw my journey. And I was able to graduate in 2006 with a bachelor's degree. Different path for different people. But for me, I really, really believe that it was because I didn't stop dreaming. I didn't stop believing in me, in what God had for me. And I always tell people, never stop dreaming. There is, even if 10 door closes, the 11th door will open.
There you go.
That you just have to continue.
That's right. And something tells me that you would have built your own door at some point if they didn't listen and open up. I love it. Lesson number 4 kind of ties into lesson number
Yes.
3,
Yes.
persistency and consistency.
Persistence, consistency. Yes, it really ties because if you are consistent and persistent and you know where you want to get, and that's something that I did had very clear. I wanted a better life for my son. I wanted to give him all the opportunities, regardless of his diagnosis, and I also wanted a better life for me. I told you my first job, one of my first jobs in California was in a kitchen of a retirement home, like assisting home, assisted living home. And I will get there. I had to find a babysitter for my son. Luckily, my neighbor was available. My son was 18 months old, if I would remember correctly. And I had to get to this place at 5:30 in the morning. The first thing was set up for breakfast. After breakfast, do the dishwashing, and then clean the floors, and then repeat for lunch. By one that I left my shift, I couldn't even walk to the bus station. My feet hurt so much, so much. And I remember one occasion I will never forget. I was washing the dishes and through these machines and cleaning the floor and thinking, I have a brain. I have a brain. I can do better than this. I can do better than this. Why? I mean, obviously, any job it has dignity. Yeah, this job was,
Absolutely.
I don't regret doing this, but it was my beginning. And all these people who are doing this, I have a lot of respect because you really work physically. Your feet hurt, cannot
Yeah.
make one step. But that made me realize I have a brain. I want a better life, a better life for me, but also for my son. And that was before I found this college who accepted me and all that. But it is part of that persistence and consistency that I knew that there was a better life for me, that I didn't give up on that dream, no matter what people were telling me.
Right.
Because when I think about what my family or people who knew me and saw me as a single mom, immigrant, no English, no education, that the chances that you're gonna have for a better life decrease.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear those words. I'm going for it, and I went for it.
It's so funny that you say that because it's so reminiscent of my philosophy when I was younger, which I didn't even know that I had. I grew up in the Bronx, and there were certain stereotypes put upon me and certain trajectories about my life that were kind of set in stone just based on um, my skin color and my, origins. And I remember from a very early age looking around at different people doing different things, especially when I started working retail and I was exposed to so many different lifestyles, so many different people, careers, industries. And I would look and I would say, what are they doing? And how did they get to do that?
Mm.
And every single time I did it, the mantra in my heart was, they're human, just like I am. They were able to do these things. If they were able to do it, what do I need to know? What do I need to learn? What do I need to be able to do that too? And I never looked at it as, well, I shouldn't even try because my fate is set in stone. It was always just ask another question.
Mhm.
Just ask another question. And these questions got me so far. I can't even describe how my life has been some kind of Forrest Gump-esque travel through life because I was just so curious and always wanted to continue to learn. I want to learn what you do. I want to learn how you do it, who you are. What's your passion for this? And I've picked up so many different quirks and trades and skills and ancillary information that makes me the person that I am, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's beautiful and well put, Diana. I feel the same way. I would exchange it for anything on the world. And I think that back to the idea that you had, like, you were capable. You had that brain power, and you just needed some a hand, like the power of the other. I always say, and this is
Yeah.
based on a quote of a book
Yeah.
that I read. We always need we never really rise alone. That's something I really learned. Right, it's not one of the lessons learned, but I think it should be one of the lessons learned, that there is always someone who we need their hand to teach us the way. It's just finding that someone, and but you have to be careful on that, because sometimes you're gonna find that someone that is gonna guide you to rise, but you can also find that someone who would make you questioning your where do you want to go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
as an example, I can remember that when I was accepted at Menlo College, and they gave me the presidential scholarship that just covered part of the tuition. I had people coming to me and say, "But how are you going to cover the rest? As a single mom, if you get sick, if your son gets sick, and how are you going to be able to afford your rent and the tuition and books?" And yes, I thought about it. I couldn't say no to the opportunity because I still had to cover a lot of out of pocket, and I had to work for it. But I just say one day at a time, one day at a time, and we'll figure it out tomorrow. And it worked. It worked.
I'm going to say, viewers and listeners, I feel like in the powerful statements that she just made, Adriana gave us like 5 bonus lessons. So hold on to those because those were gold. Lesson number 5, have empathy. Now, you and I, we're so aligned with this, but tell me your philosophy on this.
Well, you know, as I gotten older, and I always look back where I come from. I had never stopped looking back where I started and where I come from. But now, on the position where I am now, leading people who have dreams, regardless of age and time and position. And I read with the empathy that I had to help them believe that everything is possible. Right? I could not lead my team without making them know that they're doing amazing, and that don't be afraid, and keep pushing and keep trying, and things will get better. The future is bright. We gotta really look and feel for what others are going through, because we never know. Like, when I look back myself, having go to work with a sick kid, that no one will be able to watch him. And I had to find a stranger to watch my son. And then I had to go drive the bus, get to my job, and clean those floors, and be waiting on the way back dirty with food on my clothes. And maybe there's people who look at me and say, "Whoa, well, she looks dirty. Where is she coming from?" But behind that, it was like a whole story. I was tired, single mom, doing my best. And when I look at people now, I never assume. I never assume. even friends of people, even if it's something is not right on them, I always give the benefit of the doubt. Like there is a reason why you are not giving your 100%, or there is a reason why you are yelling or screaming or upset. And I want to understand that reason. I don't want to react with the same response. But to me, I could not be the person who I am if I would not put empathy as a front, as a leader, as a mom, as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister. I'm all those things. I am blessed to be all those things. So yes, I'll always say, don't forget where you're coming from, and always think about that there is a reason why people react in certain ways, and we just have to start with empathy and come forward with it.
Valuable words. Valuable words. Lesson number 6 ties into this as well. Develop emotional intelligence. I won't say any more, viewers and listeners. Adriana, take it away.
Now, this one, I didn't know what emotional intelligence was, to be honest with you. I never knew that term until probably back in 2017. I started reading a lot of books. I am a big follower of Brenda Brown's. I love her. I started reading a lot about the power of vulnerability. And then I ran into this book called Emotional Intelligence. And I started reading it, and I was starting thinking, well, what's the difference of emotional intelligence versus IQ? Which one is the most or intellectual intelligence? Which one is more important? And I realized at that moment that if I wanted to continue my road into become the leader I never had or I didn't have, I needed to really work on my emotional intelligence. But I had to start working within myself. Like I had to start recognizing what triggers me. Why do I get upset? Do I yell? Where do I respond back? So I started working on those things, and there is a whole framework under emotional intelligence. And when I started learning that framework and first getting to know myself, I can tell you that now every time I am in a room, I can read more than words. Starting with what I'm feeling, but I can read more than words. I can immediately know what someone is thinking or feeling or what's coming next. Like people don't have to tell me these words. And remember that communication with words is about 10% of our communication, right? Emotional intelligence takes a bigger part of it. For a lot of times, as you go up on the ladder on the leadership, a lot of times happens that emotional intelligence disconnects. It disconnects strengths. But I have kept it very alive, very alive, because I really think that if you want to become a really good leader and mom and friend and emotional intelligence, as well as empathy, they're super connected. And one of the reasons why I believe I've been very successful within IT back in the business, not just because I started in finance and accounting as my first background before moving to IT, but because I'm able to read people, understand emotional intelligence, know what the challenge is, feel how people are really feeling, what their fears. I think that's been my key for being so happy doing what I do.
Think that's so critical. I have been in situations where I've used a combination of all three of your lessons that we just talked about, the empathy, the emotional intelligence, and not necessarily using my words, but being able to put myself in their situation and say, if I were feeling these feelings, what would I need right now? Because that's the only thing I can start with, right? Because I don't really know the other person well enough. And I can't tell you how many times bring a sense of calm just by being and just by letting my energy seep out to let the other person know I don't know what's going on, but I'm here. I'm
Is
here.
yes, that changes the tone. I told the story as you were saying that I remember my previous company, they were putting me to interview people. that new teammates. And I didn't have to really interview them on the technical skills, but it was more about the culture fit or things like that. And people would always tend, obviously, when you go to interviews, especially in the IT field, people are harder to get in, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
but I learned like just like coming in and smile and ask how's your day going and where do you live, what kind of sports you like, what do you do for fun? Like the first 10 minutes, like when I get to the like, do you like to dance? Because I love dancing. Like things like when you find something in common for the first 10 minutes, the barriers come down
Yeah.
and
Common ground.
common ground, and people become their best self. I hired people that you wouldn't believe, amazing people, but on the first interaction, they would have come across as amazing because that barrier. But I really say that I have the talent of bringing those barriers down because I start with a human first, and that's another lesson that is nice. So
You're just giving them away for free, Adriana. You're giving them away for
it should
free.
have been the 20 lessons learned.
Lesson number 7, empower others.
Yes, yes, yes. You cannot grow as a person, as a leader, without, first of all, share your teachings, but also empowering others. When I think where I am in my life, and anybody in my friends, I just saw a friend last night that knows me for the last 20 years. And she said, Adriana, if you see yourself of where you are today and all the things you have survived and lived through, doesn't matter what happens next. You will still survive and live through. And I apply the same philosophy with people that I see struggling. And I have the opportunity to pass a message. If I say the day will be better tomorrow, we really have to empower people, not just on making them believe that there is a helping them believe that there is a better future, but also give as a leader, I had to learn to delegate, and I love delegating, by the way, because it's the only opportunity I have for people I lead to learn, to grow, to get passionate about what they're doing. Give them the opportunity to tell me how are we gonna get to whatever solution that we need to get without me being the one as a leader. So I like to really teach people how to fish, and I would not be able to do that without empowering. Empowering as a leader is such an important skill to have and do, because as you empower others, you learn and you grow as well. You can grow to the next level.
I love it. Lesson number 8, take the time to give back. Give back or pay it forward.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it takes time. Obviously, you're gonna be at a good place, but I never forgotten who gave me their hand.
Mm.
And if I have the opportunity to give back to them, I'm always there. But the way I pay it back is by doing the same thing for those who at some point were in either similar situation that I was, or in some kind of situation where they need a hand and advice, financial help. I don't know what it is, emotional health support, whatever. We had to be like trees. I don't know if you ever heard that, like apple or orange trees.
No, tell me.
Where have you seen a tree eating their own fruits? Never. You always People would always come and grab a fruit of your tree, right, and eat it. And I'm not saying I'm gonna give all my fruits to everybody. No, I need to keep some for me and my family, and I learned that one point through church. A pastor said it, and I thought, wow,
That's powerful.
that's if you really want to give, if you really want to be that tree, let people take some fruits of your tree. Obviously, you have to be careful, right? Obviously, put in your boundaries. You don't want to give everything of you, but Otherwise, what would be a fruit tree purpose other than having others eat these tree fruits? So I am a big believer of giving back is how we also get back. That's a big one in my life.
I love it. Number 9, be humble, but stay hungry.
Be humble, stay hungry. There is always going to be the opportunity on being in a room where you are the one who knows the most, but you all, or will be times where you just have to wear the hat of learning. And even when I am in rooms when I am the one who knows the most, I always come with my learning hat, and that's being humble because we're never going to end learning. The learning never ends. Okay. So I think one of the things that worked really well for me is make people feel that we are on the same level in terms of challenge. We're all here to solve a problem, regardless of who knows more. But and I think that's kind of become like humble brings you unity, because then people see you as, okay, she's not here to tell me what to do, but working with me to go through this challenge or find the solution to this problem. And when I was a consultant, and that even as you work in organizations as an employee, you become the consultant, especially in IT. You are the consultant of your organization, or in your home, right? I also want to teach my kids that we're never going to stop learning, right? So always, always, always come to a room with your opinion and your facts and your experience. Of course, that's very valuable, but always with the open minded of learning, because we always gonna learn, always. So yeah, that's stay humble but be hungry. That's the other thing. Never stop learning. Never stop learning.
All right. Lesson number 10, practice gratitude every day.
Practice gratitude every day. That's what still is in my list. As soon as I wake up, my first thing is thank you for what I have, because it is important to recognize what we have instead of thinking what we don't have. It gives you happiness to think everything, to think about all the things and all the blessings and all the things you have in your life. It helps you start with the right foot. And that's what I do every day. And that really helps me, even in moments of sadness or when things are not going well, because that's the other thing, right? Life is not about every single day things going the way you want them. But if you start with gratitude and go to bed with gratitude, that really brings a lot of lessons in your life. And that's something that since I've been applying that in every day, and as I get older, I will say I do it every day, every day, every day. It just brings change within you. And I think that closing that with being my lessons number 10 is exactly what I do every night at the end of the day as well. So that's what I thought that it was a great lesson to close with.
I think so as well. And yeah, I take that gratitude, I think, almost a little bit too far. A long time ago, I had a pastor who he had his sermon and he said something to the effect of, when bad things happen to us, we look to God.
Mhm.
When good things happen to us, we may say thank God, we may celebrate, a little bit, but it becomes about us. Something good happened to us. We forget about the universe providing it for us. And he says, I want everybody to be a little bit more mindful of the everyday little things that he saves us from.
Oh,
So
yes.
when you drop your phone and the screen didn't crack, that should be a moment to say, thank you,
Thank you.
Lord. When you are walking down the street and you could have stepped into a pile of poop poop and you didn't, that is the moment to say, thank you, Lord. And I practice that, Adriana. Every little thing. I love working with wood. I love carpentry. And so I'm constantly like doing things that I shouldn't be doing and not wearing gloves while doing it. And, the time that I almost strike my thumb with the hammer, but I don't. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Like, to me, and because I've practiced it for so long, the relief and the thanks is just as powerful as if
Yes.
something truly, truly bad had happened and it didn't happen. And I wonder what would happen in the world if more people adopted that philosophy to give thanks even for the tiniest things.
That's so true. And then anything like you mentioned, I say be thankful, but I say you say thank you, and that's part of say thank you to everyone. Thank you for your employees when they submit something. Thank you. Acknowledge that to your kids when they do anything. Thank you. I think the power of thank you plus the power of the gratitude brings amazing things. It
Yeah.
really does. People will remember you for that. People
For
will,
sure.
yes.
All right, I've got one last question for you after all these amazing lessons. What have you had to unlearn?
That's that's a tough one. Oh, I would say when I doubt myself,
Yeah.
I forget what I did to get to where I am.
Oh, oh,
I want to learn that because
yes.
at this point, after everything that I have come through life, I should not have 1 second of that about myself or what I'm capable of.
Oh, I'm going to say that again for the viewers and listeners. They need to hear that. Out of all the things that I've been through and I've overcome, I should not have one doubt about myself and what I bring to the table and what I can do.
Yes.
Write that down. If you don't think about anything else, write that down. That is gold.
Yes, definitely. I think we all go through that, right? In moments when things don't go well, we doubt ourselves, and that's not fair. We shouldn't do that to ourselves. So definitely, that's something that should be unlearned.
Adriana, your commitment, your compassion, your love, your perseverance, your effervescence, I am in awe of you and
Oh,
everything you do. I really am. You inspire me like you wouldn't believe. Even with your fitness journey and your goals and viewers and listeners, I will tell you this: Adriana has schooled me on being of middle age, how I should really be approaching fitness and my fitness journey and taking care of my body. And it is not what everybody else has been saying. And she's changed my thought process about what my body needs to carry me through the rest of the years I have in my life. And she's just such a wealth of information
oh.
and peace. And I adore you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Diana. It's been a pleasure really sharing these lessons. And if we ever have another 10 lessons learned on the fitness way, just you know where to find me.
You heard it here first. That is coming up. We're going to do that for sure. Let me exit this out for everyone. You have been listening to 10 Lessons Learned. This episode is produced by Robert Hossery. Please tell us what you think of today's lessons. You can email us at podcast@10lessonslearned.com. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of the only show that makes the world wiser, lesson by lesson. Thank you, everyone. Be safe out there.